Talking about Jane always gets me. To this day, I carry a coin in my pocket to remember. But anyway, the light went on back at Ukop. When we were first arriving at the Ukop base camp, Paul was friendly but distant. Since my first meeting with him, he had convinced the NGO to finance and construct a solar panel system in his Riverstone house, and they were also financing and building an upstairs for himself to live in under the pretense that downstairs would house tourist sales and act as a storage point for goods made in the bush by local villagers. Made sense. He gave me a tour. It was creative and very well built. Had an indoor shower, but obviously expensive. A young, red-headed European girl was living there with him, and he acted very shy about it. Many tourist ladies find a way to hang on to their dream of being a primitive by hooking up with some bush guy. They don't last long. She wouldn't either. He was a total pain in the ass with women at that stage in his life. The electrical contractor was from Swakopmund, and I knew him. He showed us the 2 solar panels and the 4 car batteries that was the guts of the project. However, he had strung an electric wire on a line across the entrance of the truss with 1 electric bulb hanging from it. No one in the village had ever seen an electric light. They saw headlights, they saw flashlights, they saw lanterns and camping stuff, yes, but no light bulb hanging from a wire. He set up a demonstration of transferring light from sun to a glass bulb on an evening of the 4th day. At the exact moment of the drop of the sun behind the wall of rock, we all gathered. The sun dropped and the light went on. Oohs and ahs all over the place. Frankly, it was an extremely sad memory moment for me. I teared up. Civilization was creeping into the bush, and it would all be over soon. What a shame. I sensed it in the others as well. I was pensive and quiet around the campfire that night. I instructed Andrew that night that I would try to explain the light from the sun phenomenon that they witnessed, if he would translate to the village leaders. He agreed. I got them to focus on the sun growing a tree, then the tree turning into firewood, and then the wood turning into fire. I explained with words and comical gestures how the trees were storing the sunshine, and how lighting a fire released the sunshine from the firewood for light to see in the dark and heat and cook. It worked. They understood the solar panels were the leaves on the trees, and the batteries were the wood of the tree, and the electric light became the fire and the heat. It took a while, but it actually worked. I loved it when the light went on, all nodding with heads, yes, with a positive sound. Ooh, Madala. Paul became more and more distant as the days went by peacefully. Then he became outright hostile with the campers and me. At first I couldn't figure out why. Can you? It's a simple answer. We taught the villagers about their personal rights under the protection of the Namibian Constitution. And they wanted to know more about Social Security and workers' compensation, especially when told they get health benefits when gored by a rhino and such. It is the exact same reason right-wingers in America or anywhere else get hostile, especially in America. They get caught out being selfish. The old, I'm aboard, let's shove off routine is the major failing in the free enterprise philosophy. It serves only the lucky few who are either born into or grow up with a competitive edge within an economic system. Right-wingers in the United States always pretend to be loyal to the U.S. Constitution until it protects someone else's personal rights. It is simply pure selfishness. And whose ox is being gored? Gee, gads, Paul. Grow up and get a real life, will you? That's what I said to him. By the 7th day, Paul had enough of the free enterprise democracy and constitutional government. After a few brews in his corral, he stomped downstream to my evening campfire and confronted me at my campsite as we were all sitting around the fire in front of my father-in-law, Jim Stevenson from America, and a few other visitors who arrived that day and saved our food situation. Get the fuck off my property and take your fucking tribe with you right now, he announced. I stood up, I smiled, and I said, try to make me, dude, posing in a comical martial arts kind of way, thinking he was joking. He went off violently, spewing expletives faster than the speed of sound about money and how we were all getting a free ride from his trust. I reminded him in front of the witnesses about the $3,000 I paid a month ago. He said he could give a damn. The price just went up. Wow, he finally triggered my adrenals. He would make a dandy right-wing free enterpriser in America, wouldn't he, huh? When I was convinced he was serious, I told him I'd rather fight it out now. Make me move, you big-mouthed asshole. That's what I said. I gave the U.S. Marine finger salute and dared him to touch me. He backed down. I won the moment. He was totally freaked out and stomped off, threatening something or other. He must have totally forgotten he had no political power, nor political enforcement mechanism to back up his ridiculous threats. I had my two fists to back up mine, and as much as he ranted and raved, he could not enforce his selfish attitude on me. I guess I taught him the Earth's oldest and most effective political weapon at UCA. Might makes right. He was such a pain in the ass after that confrontation. We only stayed 9 out of the 10 days, but we left well-fed and happy campers. From that day forward, at UCA and all over Namibia, blacks and coloreds privately called me Madala, respectfully, of course, behind my back, and held me up as some kind of protector. Oh, by the way, the red-headed European lady also left with us. She couldn't stand Paul one more day. He soon left the Dry River Basin for another bush gig somewhere. He lost everything he had built in one temper tantrum, and I never spoke to him again until many years later. The rest of the year, and all through the next Christmas holiday season, went off perfectly well for a boring little town on the west coast of Africa. However, I was one happy camper until the phone call came about Jane. And by the way, on that computer this morning, I got a picture of Paul sitting in the bush. I haven't seen him since I was in Africa. Can you believe that? I got a picture of Paul sitting in the bush, and I sent it out to all my email and Facebook friends, and I got it from his ex-wife. He's still a good buddy of mine, and he was just awarded the Best Travel Guide Award in the whole country of Namibia. See how karma works? And the next is chapter 65.